Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Duke London podcast. As you may already know, if you've tuned in before, we're collaborating with Artists for Artists for a while. This will be the fourth of 4 weeks of collaboration. So our last episode, I say we as if there's a whole team. It's just me. So for this collaboration, Artists for Artists have a digital spring stage happening. So what that means is for around 8 weeks, and I believe we are in the 4th week now, if all goes to plan, Artists for Artists are going to bring you weekly content from a variety of artists that they've commissioned for different projects. You can find everything on the website if you haven't seen it already. It's www.artistsforartists.co.uk. The 4 is a number 4 instead of FOR. And everything is on there. There will be these 4 podcasts. Then there's going to be all sorts of different content following on from this, so check it out. A lot of it is with artists that we haven't worked with before, so that's super exciting to see what they produce. We commissioned our digital seed fund a while back, so the kind of fruits of that endeavor will be put out as well, which is going to be really cool. I know a bit about the projects and they are super exciting. And yeah, and if you don't know anything about me or the Duke London podcast, I keep forgetting how many episodes I've done already, but there's a bunch of episodes already online, around 28, I think, before I started this collaboration. So you can find them all on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere except for SoundCloud, basically. For some reason, they don't want to be involved. So go and check those out. And yeah, you can find all the podcast related stuff on my socials, and you can find anything Artists for Artists related on all of their socials, which will at some point be on the video and in the description for all the audio stuff. And yeah, all the digital spring stage stuff is on their website, artistsforartists.co.uk. So on to this week's guest. That's my song. That's my new intro for the song. What do you reckon?
I love it.
We're in the studio with Jason, and hi Jason, how you doing?
Hello, my love.
How's things? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm wonderful. I got my coffee. I'm happy. I like to get the guests to introduce themselves a bit, because it's one thing, for me to read your bio and be like, this is who this person is. But it's another thing for you to kind of describe how you see yourself as an artist and who you are. So give us a little, introduction, little background as to who you are and kind of what you do, where you come from, what scenes you work in and what circles you move in. Give me the breakdown.
Hey, guys. Hey, Luke.
Hi.
It's been a while. But I'm Jason. Jason Tan. Tan's my Vietnamese name, guys. And
but you're fine with either?
I'm fine with all of them.
Okay, cool.
But I'm a dancer. I've been dancing for like 10 years now. I've been around for quite a bit.
Yeah.
Trained, done school training, all of that,
Yeah.
Brit school. So I got my technique there, a little bit of technique. And then after that, I was like, maybe I should just, I didn't really know what I was going to do. And then I pursued dance full force after that.
Were you at Brit? Because Lamel went to Brit, right?
Lamel went to Brit.
But the same age, or?
He was in the older years.
Okay.
And I was in the younger year. So it was year 10 and year 11.
Yeah.
But I can't believe by the end of year 11, I was so bright enough to be like, I'm done. I'm
finished.
I'm finished,
Yeah.
which is so...
You can pull the mic, by the way, if you want to lean back.
It's not I wouldn't say it's I'm looking back on it, I'm like, I wish I just took a little bit more time, but I'm like, okay, cool.
So would you have stayed if you could go back?
I would have at least stayed for the extra 2 years.
Yeah, right.
It was like the day before and I opted out. I was like, no, this don't feel right.
I'm done. Yeah.
But I'm here though, but it's just weird because I literally was like, I didn't feel right, so I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Took loads of open classes. I was more of a going in it. At that point, I was like, it's open classes for me now, or training with people, anyone that I could around at that time, or who I was inspired by, yeah.
At that time, what was your goal in dance? Did you have one? Or?
Oh, you know, I just really enjoyed it. And that was just it. There was no...
Just want to get better.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say I would see myself doing the things I'm doing now. Okay. Nothing like that. Like, it was purely just like, I love to do this.
Yeah.
Boom. I remember even one session, Hazel told me to come to fucking... Sorry.
With, where was it?
Was it Toy Box? Is it called Toy Box?
Yeah, Toy Box. Yeah.
Yeah,
you came to that. But then remember I came and taught with you guys as well. When you guys had your group, it was like you, Hazel, Lamel, the PTC.
Yeah. It was always just like a group, like literally, I remember after meeting Hazel, I was like, message her like, yo, like, can we dance more? Yeah. It was just like trying to find more people that I could dance with, really.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
I'm 24.
20. Yeah, so then I must have met you when you were like 17 or 16.
Nah, you met me when I was like maybe 14, 15.
Really?
Yeah, I was really young.
Yeah, because I remember like you and Hazel and Lamel were like the kids like to me, and now you're all like grown up, successful professionals, you know? But yeah, definitely remember those days.
Just a lot of going about. Because I didn't go down the normal route. It was a lot of like literally meeting hella people. And that's why it even feels nice. Like I can look back and be like, oh, bro, it's been ages. I haven't seen you in time. Exactly. But this is great. This is what I was here to do. I'm like, yeah,
definitely.
And then within that, obviously, started teaching. Okay. I think that was the next outlet.
Yeah.
Because after learning, I was like, oh, what do I have to offer? Yeah. But it was funny because that wasn't my mentality at the time doing it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, what do I have to offer? I wish I sat down and was like, what do I have to offer? Do you know what I mean? Or what am I doing, basically? Yeah. But I was more so just free-flowing it, creating content. Defo needed to make money because I didn't go to college as well. It was kind of like, my parents were looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? So it was very much like, I had to make money somehow. I was working 9 to 5, working at office shoes.
Okay.
Period. All of these places were cute though, because I also was a very shy person, so I needed all of this. This stuff like even aided me in my dance further on. I think so, because I got to speak to people and communicate with people. So that was good. After teaching was amazing. Like I think it was cool because. Did
you start off because you and Hazel like had like a class together? And
I never wanted to teach. It was so funny. Hazel literally. Okay, Hazel should vouch me for this because she forced me. You forced me. And Hazel's not a forceful person. We all know Hazel now. She's definitely not a forceful person. But at the time,
she was like, do it.
She definitely was like, nah, like, let's do it. I think we should just do it. And if you're feeling worried, let's do it together.
Sick.
I think that's what was beautiful about it because I was like, you know what, it's true. Because if there is a week or two that I'm not feeling it,
you've got someone.
Hazel's here to like, and vice versa. It happened all the time.
And even from the I want to say audience, but like, you know, the people taking class, like it's nice for us to have different, you know, energies, different people. Like when you guys coming together, you create something different than you would alone. But also maybe it's 1 week just you, 1 week just Hazel. And it's like,
and we never let anyone, this is what was interesting. Like nowadays people are so spoon-fed because we didn't even let people know who was teaching that day.
So you just show up and
you
get
show
something.
up and you get, you know what I mean? It's just an experience at that point and you should gain something from it. You know what I mean? I think that was what was beautiful about it. Like looking back, I'm like, fuck, we really played those guys. They still came to class. in the best way possible. And it was like, they were there and the intention was clearer, I think so, because they were there to take class and to learn something and to be involved.
But also there's a level of trust with that because it meant that they could trust you and Hazel that whatever you threw at them, you know, we're going to bring something good and put your energy into it and it's going to be worth learning, I guess.
Yeah. So interesting because it was such the start of the journey as well. Do you get what I mean? As in like...
It's early on.
It's early on because like what... Honestly, I can truly say I was just on autopilot.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even think about my teaching. That's not honest. I would think about it to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Like maybe let's say I would go into other people's classes and analyze how they would teach. Yeah. But even that's kind of corny.
Yeah, like you weren't going like so in on your artistry
you know
and
what I mean?
Your teaching.
Like so it was interesting because after that, I think, you know, dance just evolves and things change and studio changes and all of that. And after that, I was kind of bored of it anyway because it was too much giving and not enough receiving.
Yeah. Like you have to keep that balance, innit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, teaching was cool. And then after that, I was like, fuck teaching. I ain't doing this no more. Because it was weird because it was a weird stage of my life because I also felt like I wasn't being appreciated. But then me, in that moment, was so vital because it wasn't out that I wasn't appreciated.
Yeah.
It was, I wasn't literally putting time into myself and appreciating what I have or nurturing what I have to just keep it moving.
Yeah.
So it was like a standpoint like, why are you guys not here? Where is everyone? But it's kind of like a question to myself like, where are you, brother? Like, show up, you know what I mean? In the most like simple way. Like, you have to just check yourself.
Yeah, and I think also sometimes we tend to get in this habit of like blaming the other people for not coming to class. But then at the end of the day, you're like, am I giving them something that they want to come and learn? You know what I mean? It's like, it's interesting to see that balance sometimes, because it's like, you know, it's like Nike just putting a shoe on the shelf and being like, why is no one buying our shoes? It's like, no, you ask yourself, why is no one buying our shoes, and figure out what can we do? Do we need to advertise better? Do we need to make a better product? So I think sometimes it's like, you know, sometimes it is other people. Sometimes you do need to look.
And that's like I feel like it's the hard thing you have to go through within being in the industry, because the thing is, you could be, you could have a sold out class one week, and then 4 months later you could be in a dark place or just in another space in your life. That you also, if you're an artist, you're going to want to express through what you're doing too. But some people aren't ready for that. People aren't accepting of it sometimes. People aren't understanding of it. Do you know what I mean? So I also think that in itself made me stronger, because I was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, it's not really about, they're not doing it on purpose or anything. It's just not reciprocating, basically. Yeah,
and I think also it's like, whereas with artists, a lot of what we produce is really tied to our personality. So if you're not feeling great, the art you produce is different, and that might not hit home. And it's like, you have to then choose between filling class spaces or being true to yourself. And sometimes, you know, you have to compromise to make money. Sometimes you got to pay rent.
It's true.
But sometimes you're like, no, this is the shit I want to put out. Unfortunately, no one wants to learn that.
But it's always the shit that you feel the most connected to. I think so. Because it's like, going through that whole 4 years of teaching, it was crazy to see. Even like, I'm a wide range of like music lover. So and even when it comes to movement too, and performing or expressing, it just, both of them was like hand in hand to me. I'm like, what am I gonna do today? How am I feeling? You know what I mean? And some people enjoy just the performance. I would say more the commercial people. You know what I mean? Or people that learn choreography, they love to perform, and which is so cool. But also, I love to express. You know
there's
what I mean?
like different sides to you.
You know what I mean? It's hard. So that's why I'm like, I've stopped the open classes, because it was a lot for my mental. So I just had to just give it a rest. And after that, it was weird, because I would take a lot of walks. It was just a lot of walks. It felt like my head was so congested. And plus, I would like make choreo right before. To be fair, it was good practice though. It was really good practice, but not
without the balance and without the understanding, I guess.
Legit. And then after that, that's when I went back into foundations and freestyle, because I was like,
nice.
God damn, this is. I was bored of all of the choreography classes. Nothing was inspiring me. It just wasn't resonating with me. I wanted to be around fresh energy, new people that actually love what they do, and just better conversations.
That's like, change up keep fresh energy.
Change up. At that point, I felt whatless. I was like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Because it was consistently going to these classes that weren't really fulfilling me. So after that, going to styles, I was like, whoa! It was like a actual like breakthrough for me.
Yeah, nice.
Because it made me love dance again. And
what sort of stuff were you doing?
Well, it was started off with Afro.
Oh, nice.
And it was cool because I've never even freestyled in hip hop like that.
Yeah.
Before this. So it was, but I'd obviously have a strong base or foundation within learning so much choreography, and all of those teachers were like hip hop driven, you know what I mean? Yeah. So when it came to the Afro, it was just cool to see a style that I love to do, and it had so much like high energy, high spirits. Yeah. And then within that, they were teaching us like a freestyle formula within that.
So you were learning those structures.
Yeah, it blew my mind, because I was like, whoa, my mind was actually working and being active and inspired and happy. Yeah. And the people around me were just A1. Like,
sick.
They wanted to be there. So that pushed me hella loads, which also made me, I did a course with Clara.
Oh, nice. The In the House thing?
It wasn't In the House. It was another sidetrack program from it. Okay. But that was cool because she didn't focus on any styles. It was just movement. Just movement. So that was also a cool moment for me too. All of these was like, didn't really know what I was like, I just want to go and dance on this experience. And especially Clara, I've been taking class from her for so long. I was like, I want to be in a space where it's not class.
Yeah, I hear you. It's like different format when it's not a class.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because I was pushed to fuck.
Yeah, I bet,
It was hard.
Yeah.
It was really hard, but also amazing.
Yeah.
It just made, it almost felt like it opened up my third eye or something. It just...
Yeah, something changed.
Something changed.
Yeah.
And then after that was, I think, I've always been like keeping up with like choreographers in LA or just around the world that I'm inspired by their work that they do. And I think from that was when I would still get maybe like a few bookings here and there to work.
Yeah.
Within that, I mean, throughout that whole journey, like I was still working as a commercial dancer.
Yeah.
But being like a young boy, being a commercial dancer is quite, it's just a lot to deal with, you know what I mean? Especially me, because I was definitely having an identity crisis. Like, I didn't know who I was, what I wanted to express. It was like, so doing those jobs, it was everything I wanted.
Right.
Everything, because my mentors, my commercial mentors, that's what they were doing. And that's what they were almost encouraging, or just like, yeah, you can do that, like kind of thing.
Yeah.
But everything that they say is just like, basically just be like everyone else kind of thing, you know what I mean? And
fit in.
And you will do great. And the thing is, I listened to it to a certain degree, you know, and like I cut my hair and stuff and all of this stuff, and I still weren't happy because I got on the jobs and then I was like, wait, this is
so
it.
Was it more, they were saying that more in a self-expression kind of way as opposed to like your dance style? They were saying fit in more with like how you look and who you
how
are.
I look. Yeah,
really?
how I look. It was weird. It was very strange, very peculiar, because I'm like, looking back, I'm like, why don't y'all just let me breathe? Like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I also had the decision to say yes or no too.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
So you don't want to like take away your individual...
Do you know what I mean? But going onto those jobs and realized it weren't it. It weren't how I wanted to express myself. It was so black and white. It was almost boring. So then I feel like the next step was wanting to assist people. So being just a bit further, like being involved, but not dancing. You know what I mean? Like not what what I thought I was going to be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And plus it coincided with teaching and all of that. So I was like, okay, so I'm not really going to be teaching that much. Not really dancing that much. Okay, you know what? Yeah, this is another venture that I'm really interested in. Let me see.
What was it that made you drawn towards that particularly?
More so music videos.
Okay.
Music videos, live performances, always.
You just love them in general.
I literally watch them every day. and I go back in the archive to see old school ones too, because they're the ones, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then the new school ones are crazy because they've got like crazy camera and like effects and shit. Yeah. So I'm like, that's what made me want to do it. And after that, it was strange because within assisting, I found myself even further.
How did that work? Because I would assume, you know, if you're assisting someone, you're not really given a lot of space for your own bits. You're more helping someone else. But is that not so much the case?
I think it was in the beginning, it was our first assistant Paris Goebel.
Oh, nice.
And it was interesting.
Well, actually, let's go back, because for people that are listening that don't know, like, what is being an assistant involved? Like,
what is assistant being involved? Assistant being involved is that you're just the choreographer's right hand.
Okay.
So you, like, let's say they're sessioning or trying to do a bit of choreo on a section, then you're there to assist and maybe give them a few, like, does this feel good? You answer their questions that they have in their head when they're going through their creative
process. So they can
process.
like bounce stuff off
Boom,
you.
yeah, like it's kind of like that. And then also just getting if you're in a room with 30 dancers or one choreographer, and then you have another person there to actually...
Yeah. So would you like know some of the material beforehand maybe and like teach with them?
She's really interesting because she's very on the spot.
This is Paris?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was very much on the spot, which I
Right.
fucking loved. Because I was like, this is organic.
What did you work, if you can say, like, what did you work with her on?
The first one was a music video, Little Mix music video.
Okay.
That was really... I'd never been on a music video set before,
Oh,
you know?
sick. So you went from zero to
to
working with Paris on
That's what
Little
I'm saying.
Mix.
It was crazy because before that, no one was trying to put me on a music video set.
How did that come about?
Craziest thing, I took a class when I was 17.
Yeah.
And then she followed me on Instagram after. I thought she followed someone random because I was like, why is she following me?
You made a mistake.
Plus, I only took her class once.
Yeah,
and I didn't I just took her class once. And then she followed me. And then since then, she was just liking up my stuff because obviously at the time that I was teaching, I was
posting
content was just out. And then
you were like, this person's really watching me. Like, what's happening?
But then when she came to London and she had the opportunity, she just literally messaged me and said, hey, do you want to assist?
Sick.
And it just happened like that.
Yeah. And was this like fully paid thing or like a volunteer?
Fully
all
paid.
She just wanted to hire you to come down.
Legit.
Sick.
Blessing, right?
Yeah, that's dope.
It's random, but it was cool to see her work because it fueled me. It really was interesting to see someone so sure in what they do, but excited. But it was on every level. She was really confident. And I think that was the one thing that I was, I guess, looking and yearning for. I just wanted to have a mentor that was just about it and about themselves, because she's a very sure within who she is as well, which I really fucks with, you know what I mean?
So like, I guess going back to like you saying that you found yourself in assisting, maybe it's stuff like that, like you saw examples of strong people.
Legit.
And you could kind of be inspired by that, I guess.
That's what it was. And even if it didn't sit then, like even if it didn't marinate then, it was going to marinate and like come another time. That's how it feels.
Interesting. So I don't know where to go next, but like, do you want to maybe explain more about kind of what your dilemma was with your self-expression? Like, what was it that you were going through then that helped you to get through, if that makes sense?
In that moment?
Yeah.
Okay. In that moment, it was always, it was strange. That was the last, there was like, after that I assisted her again, maybe like 2 years later.
Okay.
And I did Brits, and I randomly was assisting, but she asked me to be in it.
Oh, wow, okay.
At the end. So I did at the end. And that was like the gig that I knew. I was like, this is not how I should be expressing myself. I feel like I just got more to say.
Interesting.
Yeah, it just felt like that. And I was like, and that's being on a job with Paris Global, like someone that's actually really fucking amazing and doing it. But it was just the titles for me. Like, I was gonna be in the cast of The Boys, so I gotta come correct. Like, and that to me just didn't sit well. But also, I respected it too, because I also could have said no. Do you know what I mean? She actually asked, like, "Do you want to?" And I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I was like, "Oh, I wanna push the boundary. I wanna." Even within my dance, I felt like I wasn't. Because even in freestyle and stuff, I felt like I was second guessing myself.
Okay.
In terms of like, I wasn't even per se expressing my feminine side or my feminine energy within my dance.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's what was like bugging me, because it was almost like it was cool that I was finding dance in a different light.
Yeah.
But also it was like a lot of rules to it, I guess, in a sense that it made me feel like I should be by the book. Okay, I gotta get my bounce. I gotta get my, you know what I mean? I gotta get my
There's a lot of
ISOs.
rules with
Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I'm like, it almost made me not dance from within.
Because it's like you found it harder to like just follow the rules and make it authentic. And,
but I guess because it was something so foreign to me. You know what I mean? So I was also like, okay, that makes sense. So I think why I'm saying that assisting it kind of pushed me a little bit further, because it opened my eyes to like, fuck, I want to express myself. I want to dance how I want to dance. I want to look how I want to look. I'm done with being on a job and they're telling me to put a cap on. I'm done with it. Like, I want to show my hair.
So was that the thing in the Brits was like more the gender thing of like, oh, you're part of the boys cast, and that made you be like, why am I boxing myself into this type of thing?
I didn't think of it at the time.
Yeah.
I still really enjoyed it, because I also had like, there was also other, like my friend Zach Mill, if you know Zach Mill from Ireland.
Not personally, but I know.
But he actually was on the gig too, so I didn't feel too foreign in the sense of like, oh, this is weird. Yeah, we were with dancing with like guys that are like 6 foot. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It was just, it was good. It was great. Job experience was amazing, but just expression wise, I was like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you mean more.
And like for people like on the outside watching in, I'm just like, I always just remember when I watch stuff on TV and stuff, it's all about representation for me. I always connect with at least one person.
True.
So I'm like, I just don't know if this is truly who I am, basically.
Right, and so by not being who you were kind of maybe taking that representation away from someone that was maybe like you.
Yeah.
But watching wouldn't know that was you.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it was almost like a living a lie. Come on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So after that, it was crazy, because after that, when I got into the room with Little Mix, because they're girls and they're pop stars, it's hilarious, because I guess that's the easiest way for my feminine side to just exert out. Like, it was just like pouring out of me, you know what I mean? And I've always been into girl bands. I've like Girls Aloud, Sugar Babes. I've always just had this personal, they uplift me, you know what I mean? Like these female artists that they just uplift me. If they perform as well, I'm like, yeah, I'm into it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So kind of nowadays, like how do you see your, like how would you, again, all of this is like share as much as you want to share, you don't have to, but like how would you identify yourself? Like where do you see yourself in that kind of spectrum of like masculine, feminine? Like where have you found yourself after all of this?
After all of this, it's still a process, I would say. There's some days I would, you know what it was? When I first went on tour was the first time I felt like, it almost was like my mum sent me on like a fucking school trip.
Okay.
For like to Wales for like a week.
Yeah.
But it was like a few months, you know? Because honestly, it was like I got to breathe. It's more so the everyday life.
Okay.
It's the more so, because I think like everything's like, even like let's say in yoga, you have to warm your body up to get to certain positions. You know what I mean? Like for me, it was like being on tour, it was interesting because my everyday life changed.
Okay, interesting.
Like genuinely, like waking up, like, what do I want to do with my hair today?
Okay.
Like it was, what do I want to wear today?
Because before that, you were living at home with your parents.
Yeah.
And so that restricted you from doing that.
In a sense, because of because my family is, well, they're Asian, and it's like not like the most. They are accepting of it, but I always felt like I was like, oh, I don't want to show them that side of me, or I felt scared. I don't know why. It's funny because when I came out to my mom, it was just the most chill thing in the world.
How did that go?
It was before I went on tour.
Okay,
And I literally got home that day because I went and got makeup because I had to be ready. And then I literally came home and she was like, oh, like you got a lot of makeup. Like what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't only makeup. It was like a whole lot of other shit as well. So I was like, she just was questioning. I was just like, Mom, this is what it is. But it was funny because I felt more like pressured from it than she did. Like she was so chill. Like I sat on her lap and she was just like, it's all right. Like it's okay.
Yeah. So I mean, that's nice in a way that it's like you kind of realized, oh, it's me putting the pressure.
Legit,
not, like,
I'm telling you, it was me. It was. At the same time, it was her as well. Don't get it twisted, because she was still asked like, oh, you got a girlfriend? Like, what do you mean? Stop all of that. Honestly, she tried it, but she's been so accepting, and that trip made me feel like I could express myself in my day-to-day life, and it helped me so much. It fueled me, and to perform on stage and be so
like free,
but it was almost to the extreme. Like it was everything that I always wanted to do. Like let's go. Anything that you want to do today, let's do it.
Right.
I would have a different hairstyle every show, different makeup look. Like I literally wanted to just feel alive. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because after that, going back to your question, it's like it's still a process, because going through that and then going home, it's like you're in a different. I didn't experience all of that amazing like liveliness at home in Tottenham. Yeah. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I get back into ends, or when I get back into London, you can't help but feel the old things that you used to feel too.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing, because I can swipe it a bit quicker, but it's still that tug and pull. Do you know what I mean? Like, should I? Oh fuck, I've got my nails in today. Maybe I should put some gloves on. Oh, like it's just the little things that I'm like, oh, okay, Jason, we're not fully there yet. That's just honest truth. You know what I mean?
So, I guess that's interesting. So, because also like we kind of briefly spoke before about pronouns and stuff, and so what would you prefer someone to address you as, let's say, pronouns wise, if you had to choose? Because you said to me, like, you were like, I don't really mind.
Oh, do you know what's so fucked, yeah? Because I call everyone sis. Like, I legit, I can actually make Luke a sis to me. Like, I can look at him and you're my sis.
I guess it's like calling people dude or something. Or guys. Or,
honestly, like, I call everyone sis. So it's funny because with the pronouns, it's like, I'm trying to think of any times that I've been pressed when someone's called me, let's say, like a she or something. Let's say, and I'm pressed. The other day, actually, when my mom, the ambulance came to my house to check my mom's breathing, so they came now, and my brother was dealing with them, and obviously my brother was like, I've got a brother that's also living in the house. So I'm just walking through the yard like with my dressing gown and my hair down, and I'm gonna go have a cigarette. And then I come out, and then the guy, I mean the ambulance guy, he literally was like, to my brother, I thought you had a brother. And I just looked at him and I was just like I'm still here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still here. But more so that was me like, yeah, we can talk about it. Like, he felt so weird about it. But and then I'm trying to think, I was definitely triggered by that.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? So I'm like, pronouns wise, I'm like, still.
So that's interesting though, because it's like, so you were more triggered by the fact that it's like, yeah, he does have a brother. If you know what I mean. So like,
I was more so triggered with how he was directing it to my brother instead of just openly.
Asking you.
Yeah, like, because I think that would have made me feel more like, just not weird about it.
I hear that.
You get what I'm trying to say?
That. Yeah.
Like, because the thing is, if he looked at me and said, "Oh, I thought you was the brother," I would have been like, "Oh, baby," like I would have just done something funny, or that's just how I am. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when you're literally talking about me to someone else while I'm in the room, baby.
So for you, it's more the approach than the actual.
Yeah, I think
thing
so.
Of it,
you
the
know,
fact of it kind of thing. Yeah.
Because I just don't think people mean any wrong in that moment if they do. Was mistaking me for a girl. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? Then, bitch, that means I look good that day. You know what I mean? And if I get bro, then I get the bro. Yeah. It just depends, you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough. So you're kind of more open to either side? So like if someone referred to you as she, you might not mind, but it depends on the approach?
I mean, I probably will...
Correct them
somehow. Why not? I'm not afraid to. You know, I'm just like, that's just... But it's cute.
What would you correct them to? He or they?
Would I correct them? Luke, would I really correct them?
Like, imagine it's me now.
Yeah.
We've known each other for time. And if I was like, oh yeah, like, can we have a coffee? Like, get him a coffee too. Would you correct me if I said get him a coffee?
No, I would be like...
What if I said get her a coffee?
See, I would make a joke out of it. Is that bad?
Yeah. I don't know. It's your personal...
I would make a joke out of it because...
You know more about it than me. It's your personal
the
feelings.
When it comes to the guy, like him or something, I'm just like, I'm a guy. Yeah. So I'm okay with that. But then the she is like... It's just comical to me because I'm like, I just exert feminine energy. So if you take a she, then it's a she. But I don't know if I'll go as far as explaining myself. I probably will just like snigger a bit. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Just depend on the intention though.
So you haven't been tempted to to kind of go down the, I guess, like non-binary route and say like they, them and keep it as that and just be like, it is what it is?
I have thought about it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a process for me. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what Claire has to say as well.
True,
on this.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is something that a lot of people ask me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Every time I kind of give them this answer.
Yeah.
That's the honest truth.
Should we try and call her now? It's a bit early than I thought we would. But basically, we're going to call in Claire. Claire is a wonderful person. But it'd be interesting if you ask her your thoughts on it. Let's see if she picks up. Boom. Be funny if she didn't pick up.
I know, right?
Just go straight to the machine.
Like, you're too early, you're too quick. Give me a second.
But it was the perfect timing, Claire.
No, we can get back to it.
Yeah, we can always call it back. Look at us making excuses already. Yeah, we'll get back to it.
We're good. Really? Probably brushing her teeth or something.
Yeah. I wasn't ready. Yeah, we're going to have to call it back. Oh, it's okay. How many rings should we do? I always do it like, how many more? Should we give it 3 more?
2 more, yeah. Last one. Oh, it's...
Oh, no, she didn't answer. Oh, it's all good. No, we'll speak to Claire. Basically, we're going to speak to Claire in a bit. If you've listened to the other podcast, you know we're calling in a guest every week. But we did tell her we'd call in about 10 minutes and we're calling her early. But it fits perfectly, Claire. We're sorry. When you listen to this, we're sorry. But no, yeah, so that would definitely be interesting to hear from Claire on that. But no, it's really interesting because I think a lot of people...
Is it weird to say that I wouldn't mind all of them? You know what I mean?
That's nice.
Yeah, I think that's okay. I feel that. That's truly how I feel in my heart.
Because I think, from the sounds of it, you're kind of embracing the masculine energy, the feminine energy, like all sides of you. So I guess in a way that makes sense of like, you're kind of all of them. Because, I think some people don't associate with, and this is from my limited viewpoint, but like how I understand is some people don't associate with he or him. Some people don't associate with she or her. So they go with they or them. But I guess you're more thinking I associate with everything.
Yeah,
so rather than none of them, you associate with all of them.
Yeah, I don't feel like anything like putting like.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to think back at any times that I've actually had to correct someone. It's more so literally been in-person thing where they intentionally.
Yeah, so it's more the energy than the actual thing that they've said, if that makes sense.
I'll give another great example. When I was on the movie set, one of the cast members, I didn't know him. He was one of the actors, or I guess, or someone on set.
Okay.
And I was going to the toilet. Yeah. I was going to the toilet. I was in my outfit. Bearing in mind, I'm a boy for this movie.
Okay, right.
I'm full on boy. Nothing about me is like I'm going it. But obviously, I think it was the end of the day, and I took my hair out, and I was just going to the toilet.
Yeah.
And I walked into the boys' toilet, and someone outside was like, "Hey."
Oh.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when I get like kind of antsy, because I'm like, girl, would you? I literally looked at them, and I was like, what? Like what? But in that moment, it also made me realize like I need to correct them like in a set, or just educate them. Do you know what I mean? Like, but that's the more moments that I get a bit more like offended or feel like I need to like,
when someone's trying to like pull you up on something or give a shit about it, I guess.
That's it really. Other than that, I'm like, call me whatever, baby.
Yeah. Fair enough. You know what's funny? Claire just sent me a voice note, and it's like, I'm on air. I can't answer. We're gonna try it again. Should we listen to it? I'm scared. What if she's swearing or something? All right, let's listen.
Shame. Sorry, I didn't see this. I'm just going to connect my Bluetooth headphones. 2 seconds.
I'm loving this live phone connection to that.
That's perfect. It played in here as well.
Yeah, it's sick. And
is it going to play within the whole?
Yeah. So when she calls, it's going to be recorded, and she'll be able to hear us from the mics, so you can just speak straight in. So let's give Claire. But go with your questions about that.
Yeah,
I'll just introduce her.
Hello,
is that Claire?
Yes, how are you?
Hi Claire, how's it going? Your audio's a bit shaky. I don't know if it's your headphones.
Do you need me to be connected to this so I can just use it? If not, I haven't got any other headphones. So.
Yeah, I mean maybe whichever way's easier for the connection, just because we're trying to get a clear voice.
Is this better?
Oh yeah, that's much better. How are you?
Yeah, cool. I'm good, you?
Yeah, not bad. I'm just here with Jason. I don't know if you know Jason. Do you guys know each other?
I know Claire. I know of Claire for sure.
I know of, yeah.
Yeah. How are you? How's things today?
Yeah, everything's good. I'm in isolation at the moment, but everything's good.
Oh, man.
It's not me that's positive, so I guess that's a plus.
Yeah, so for everyone listening, we were supposed to have, multiple guests, but because of Corona and all its fun, we had to limit it to one guest, so that's why we've got Claire calling in. Claire, we were just talking about, I guess, how would you sum it up? Like,
it's about pronouns, isn't it?
Pronouns and gender and that sort of thing. Just before we start, what pronouns do you prefer? How do you identify?
Yeah, I'm just she and her. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But Jason, do you want to explain what we're talking about?
So you know what? Yes, I was speaking to Luke and he asked me, and it's crazy because I don't really have any titles. Like I wouldn't say that I get offended if someone was to call me a she or her. You know what I mean? I'm just like,
right. Yeah.
I'm quite easygoing when it comes to that, and I haven't. But then also I haven't. It's only been like a year or two where I've actually started to identify as a non-binary. I guess.
For real. I hear that. Yeah. Me too. I did think about it as well, but for me, it's more of I guess I'm not saying that people that are non-binary are not happy. I don't want to say it like it to come across like that, but I guess I'm just happy being she and her. Does that make sense? Like I thought, should I feel that way? And I'm just like, no, I'm cool. Do you get what I mean? But that's not to say that non-binary people are not happy or confident in their body. If anything, Jason, to me, that says to you that you're super confident. You're like, listen, I am who I am, and however you see me is you see me in it, and legit. I'm here for that.
Yeah, that's what Jason was saying, is like that he doesn't feel that he would be offended by either. So it's like, not that he doesn't, what was I trying to say? Like what I said before was
like,
that,
I wouldn't come to the table as like I'm everything.
Yes.
Like, let's not go that far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to go that far and be like, bitch, I'm every, but I'm going to come to the table as definitely I'm a dude. You know what I mean? I'm a guy. Like, definitely. So I even like, just you telling me that your pronouns are she and he, like, it just resonated because I'm like, boom, like, I'm therefore that's another side of all of this that I also have to. There's a journey for me too of just accepting that yes, I'm a dude too. Like a lot of this journey too was accepting the old me too, or just the me. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. Yeah.
So it's, now that you said it, it's actually giving me confirmation, because if someone was to ask me, I probably would identify as a he. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
For me as well, like I think being around, I don't know, I'm gay, so as we would call it in a gay culture, like studs. So very, very masculine females. You know, I am a masculine female, but I know as well that I can be a bit more feminine than very, very masculine females. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm not like, I'm a girl, innit? You know what I mean? It's just them experiences that make me think of that. So, yeah.
So do you think that, like, kind of, I guess, asking yourselves the questions, this is to both of you, like, has made you not only appreciate the other gender, but like your own, like, gender at birth kind of thing, like more even? You're like, you know, what Jason's saying about like appreciating the masculinity in yourself more, having questioned it than if you hadn't questioned it. Does that make any sense?
I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, I think so. Jason, do you want to go first?
No, sir. Go.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I didn't know if I was cutting you up, but yeah, I think for me, it plays into confidence again in that, because I think maybe like 10 years ago when I was about 16, I wouldn't be seen probably being like, yes, girl, or something like that. Like I would be completely on the masculine side. You get what I mean? Because I think at that time I was out by then, but I was still very much like, I don't like boys, so I'm not going to be anything that they might be attracted to or something like that, like in terms of being a girl. But now I'm more confident. Like I watch RuPaul's Drag Race and like I'm making references here, okay? So I don't really care. You get what I'm saying? It's just about being more confident. So
right.
Yeah, like in terms of just thinking about that, thinking am I non-binary or I don't know. I guess I kind of repeated myself, but again, to them questions, that's just how I feel about it. I'm being confident in if I want to feel masculine at one point, or if I'm with a bunch of girls or gay men and we're talking about RuPaul's Drag Race, I'm not going to sit there and be uptight about it, you know?
Right.
Or something like that.
So I guess like you're saying that your gender identity was kind of at the beginning like tied into your sexuality in a way of like,
yes,
okay, so
for sure.
I'm into girls, but what does that mean about who I am? And now you're a bit more like, all right, I am who I am. I just know I'm into girls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I kind of had that thing as well when I came out, and like people would be like to me, "Oh, don't be that stereotypical gay," where it's like, you know, someone would say something and they'll be like, "But I'm gay, so I can do this," or "I'm gay, so I can feel that way." Kind of like I feel like sometimes straight people are threatened by that, but I'm just a bit like, no, I'm just Claire, and I'm 16 and I'm gay. At that time, like, it is what it is, like, you know. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
How do you feel about that one? Any thoughts?
You kind of just hit it on all nails, though. Can't lie. You hit all
it.
nails. Like that's how it's crazy to actually hear someone else speak about it. I'm actually in a trance right now.
Yeah.
You know what it was? Like it's great to hear someone else speak about it, because I'm like, because it is a lot of thinking in it. Like sometimes it is just thinking. I'm just like, even when I was searching up like non-binary and stuff, like it was all a lot, because it's a lot of research in it, and I was just like, I just want to be like, it's a lot of like titles and stuff, and that was bugging me out, because there was so many titles, sis. Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, what one am I? Am I gay? Like, maybe I'm just gay then. Like, what is this? Like, but it's
you know what's interesting though for me? Like, I hear a lot of that, but from people who are like straight and like just not in the LGBTQ community at all. And they're like, you know, they say things like that of like, oh, there's just so many titles, I don't know, like I can't get my head around it all. But it's interesting to hear it coming from you guys of like, we feel the same sometimes, you know?
Yeah, for sure, definitely, because I just don't want to offend someone, you know what I mean?
That's so interesting, because like to hear that from you guys of you feeling like you don't want to offend someone, do you know what I mean? Because it's often, I feel like people that want to be considerate of the community are very on edge about like, okay, I'll go make sure I don't, you know, offend anyone. I want to make sure I say, because we're very like painfully aware that we're not a part of that community, if that makes sense. So I guess it's like, it's interesting to hear for me, like from you guys, like internally in that community, you're like, yeah, like I'm gay. I don't fully like, you know, I've questioned my gender identity, but even I still feel like I don't want to offend people. So that's like, it's interesting for me to hear.
Yeah, I just think, I don't know about you, Jason, but for me, it's still kind of new, a little bit.
That's
in terms of, and you think about it as well, like I feel like I've only known about non-binary for about 2 years, and for a year of that we've been in lockdown, so we ain't really been around people. Do you get me? So it's kind of like you're like when you come into real life with them people and you're meeting them people for the first time, it's still new about how, I don't know, you address them. And again, you don't want to offend. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So is there something in particular, say, Claire, with you, like, is there something in particular that, like, when you kind of looked at the non-binary route, or like using they, them pronouns or something, is there something that didn't feel right about that for you personally? And what was that?
Yeah, I'm just super comfortable just being me. And I think when I read that, I knew that. And then I thought about, okay, let's say now I want to be non-binary, and then like speaking to my family about it and how I want them to address me or whatever. And I just thought, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. Yeah, I guess I just didn't feel like, no, I don't need to go through that. I'm kind of cool who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you feel similar?
Like with
yeah, like you kind of like when you're like, yeah, that's just not me. Like with like say using like they them pronouns.
Oh yeah, that just it didn't
sit right.
It didn't sit right. I can't like it. Just like they and them. Like the fuck, you know what I mean? Like
it just wasn't.
How about I turn into a they and them? Like it just didn't feel right to me. But at the same time, that's just me, just maybe not accepting it. Do you know what I mean? Like, because literally this conversation, like I defo have come to. There's been clarity. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, because it's defo making me realize that that I should embrace that I'm a he. You know what I mean? Literally, this conversation has made me realize that, because I do that, but I guess when people ask me, I shy away from it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
From like say, like if somebody asks you, you shy away from saying, yeah, call me he.
Yeah, because really I should just be like, yeah, call me he, but I'm not gonna be offended if it is a she, or you know what I mean? Right. Like that's where I think I'm gonna be able to tackle the question just a bit better.
Oh, that's nice
in life. Yeah, no, legit.
That's
so
really
interesting.
Nice. So how do you guys feel, because obviously you're both in the dance industry, how do you guys feel about kind of the, I guess, representation of all these things? Do you feel like people are accepting of, you know, different pronouns? Do you feel in general, like compared to, you know, seeing, let's talk about like the LGBTQ community, like do you feel that that's stronger inside the dance scene or outside?
I don't know. I think it's 50-50 for me.
Really? How do you mean?
In the dance scene, I think it's strong, but as a masculine female, more than feminine, like obviously I do a masculine dance, like krump is heavily masculine, like heavily man ruled, if you want to say. And for me, I feel like in dance it's more about stereotypes.
Okay.
So it's like if you're a girl and you krump, you're automatically expected to be gay.
Interesting.
You get what I mean? So that's like I've had like in krump we have little homies, which is it's like a crew, but it's a bit different. It's a fam. I'm not gonna go into it, that's long. But I've had people ask me being like, so have you got to be gay to be in your fam? And I'm like, whoa, like I've got an 11-year-old in my fam. Yeah. I teach an 11-year-old. Don't be putting her in that box. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes I feel like it's a bit it's strong. It's like as soon as you see maybe like Jason or another guy that is feminine and like everyone's like yes, whatever. I feel like sometimes, and this is only speaking from my point of view, so please don't take this as I'm judging you, Jason, or whatever. But it's easier for you to get more of a wide positive reaction, because I feel as well, like say for example, I don't know, you got a special guest in Magic Mike and you came out and you were voguing or something like that, they're middle-aged women that go to see Magic Mike as well would be like, yes, I love him, like I want to see more of that.
Okay,
you know,
I feel
like there's a wider audience inside dance and outside of dance for feminine males than masculine females.
Oh,
that's actually facts. That's facts for sure.
Yeah, now that you're saying
I've never thought of it like that. I've maybe thought of it a few times.
But then when I'm outside of dance, sometimes I get a 50-50 negative and also a positive reaction. So it's the same for me. Do you get what I mean?
Really interesting. I had never thought about that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because especially, you know, I guess this also speaks to some of the dances that have become popular. Because I guess, like you were saying, with something like Vogue or whatever, it's very commercialized now, and there's a lot of TV shows and stuff. So, and, you know, like people may be more familiar with that sort of thing and had a chance to think about it or whatever. Whereas maybe they're like maybe more closed-minded when it comes to like masculine females, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess
I don't know. That's just my experience.
No, that's a really interesting point of view. And I think it's also interesting that like there's an expectation that you have to be gay to be like a woman crumper, and you're like, look, I am gay, but I just don't want you to expect it.
Yeah.
It's like,
and
just don't
so
assume
many
I am.
Straight girl crumpers, it's ridiculous. Like,
yeah, I mean,
there's so many.
Yeah.
So
there's quite a few hot girl crumpers actually. Have
Yeah.
to say. I've been at a couple of crump events, so I don't mind it so much. Not saying any names, but there's some fine ladies out there.
God damn.
No, but that's really cool. Like, Jason, have you done any Vogue or anything like that?
So I've trained a little bit of it here and there. Like I've got really good friends that do participate.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely something I really want to get into.
Yeah, because I mean, I had we did an episode of the pod on ballroom culture, and it was with 3 Voguers, and they were teaching me actually a lot about the kind of how the dance is intertwined with the culture of like the LGBTQ community and stuff. So I just wonder if it's like something that, did you feel like as a dancer when you kind of wanted to come out and stuff like that, did you see that ballroom community as like a safe space for you that you would want to be drawn towards, or do you have that safe space in the commercial world or something like that?
Yeah, definitely. Like I've been to a few balls, really inspired. I've always been quite like a introvert kind of person, it's a tug and pull for me in that sense, because it's so exposing, but then I'm so at the time was an introvert, like do you know what I mean? So it was a lot to take in as well, but it also fueled me though within what I did personally and what I did with my art and what I did by myself, you know what I mean? So definitely something I want to immerse myself in for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, because I just feel like it's the safest place to be.
Yeah,
it is. It definitely is. And whenever I do come across Voguers or anything, it's always just good love, good energy, and
same actually.
Definitely where I want to be for sure. So
yeah.
You'd be stuck at that as well.
Love this.
Truth. How do you feel, like, what was your draw to crump, Claire? Like, was it anything to do with this, or was it just completely separately? It's not like, was it to do with the culture, or was it to do with just like, I love this dance style?
Well, I didn't know about crump until my sister showed me. I used to dance in my sister's dance school when I was young.
Okay.
And I'd done this freestyle. I must have been about 13 at the time. And my sister was like, "You look like you're crumping." I was like, "What the hell is that?" And then I just went and YouTubed it, and then I taught myself for like 3 years after that. And I just, it just felt right. Because I love hip hop, and I've always loved popping as well as my 2 other, I wouldn't say main styles, but my favorite styles. And then when I'd done crump, I was like, this is why I got into dance now. Like my safe place, I guess.
What was
and
it about the style?
Everything about it.
What was it about the style that made you feel like, this is what I love, you know?
I think, again, being around more masculine energy.
Okay, so it was to do with the energy of that.
Yeah, the culture, and just being around, like, I don't know, like, this is going to sound so cliche, but I do feel sometimes I can't articulate myself properly. Okay. So when you are in that space, and it is very much like, it's so free, crump, like it's ridiculously free, and everyone has something different to say. And when you're in that culture and you're able to read what someone is saying, or even if like they're saying something different, but you get something from that, or you get something different from what they're actually saying, like there's still something going on that you can latch onto, if you get what I'm saying. And I just love that. It's for me, that's why it's my favorite. You can't find that anywhere else. And again, I don't mean to diss other styles, but that's my personal opinion.
It's like you can't find anything like that in any of these other rubbish styles.
So listen to this and be like, right, I'm calling Claire out, you know. I'm calling Claire out. Let's now.
That's funny. No, but that's really cool to know. Especially like, you know, there's some styles that you gravitate to, I mean, I guess every style I would say, because I guess artistry is so linked to who we are. Our output of that is gonna be linked to who we are as well, if that makes sense. So like what styles you gravitate towards, where you want to perform, what context your work sits in, all at the end of the day boils down to like you, where and how you want to express yourself, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
That's it. Super interesting. Claire, I'm going to let you go. I'd
Cool.
love to have you here for the whole time, but yeah, unfortunately.
again, we'll do it some other time.
Unfortunately, Corona. But yeah, we'll definitely, we'll definitely keep in touch. We'll definitely have you in the studio.
Yep.
Anything happening for you at the moment that we need to shout out or anything, or are you just kind of waiting for Corona to pass?
Yeah, I'm just laying low, just focusing on more self-improvement, like internally, and we'll see. Who knows what 21 is going to bring, so just positive vibes for everyone right now.
Yeah, same to you. Everybody, like Claire's socials are going to be on the screen somewhere, so go and check her out, say what's up.
Thanks for the convo, sis.
Yeah,
You're
trust.
the one.
No, thank you guys. Much love. Much love.
All right. Catch you soon,
Stay
Claire.
safe.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Aw.
That was really insightful.
What? Go on. Tell me what you found.
It was just that beginning, the pronouns.
Yeah.
When she touched on that, like I was like, boom. I think today was when you asked me before we even started filming. I think already I was like, Jason, we're gonna have to start making a standpoint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of what it is. That's just what it is. Just actually physically answering the question. So
that's interesting. So what is it that like you? I guess you didn't have before that you now are wanting to make a standpoint on, I guess.
Just being short of the question when
Right.
just of what it is, like what are your pronouns?
Yeah.
That's just I think the simple fact of that.
So do you find you've been like dodging it a bit before?
Definitely.
Right. Oh, how come?
I don't know. I guess it's just maybe a part of how I am. I'm quite indecisive person. Do you know what I mean? I don't like to cement shit down.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was.
Do you feel like it would have been an easier conversation if you did identify it as like they or them? Do you feel like it's harder or cracking?
You know, that makes sense, you know, if you...
Because maybe
it would be harder.
Maybe because of the way...
It would be easier, actually, no?
I think, I don't know. It's really hard for me to say, but I would think that maybe... I wonder, let's say it like this. I wonder if you felt more pressure because you think people are expecting you to identify as they or them, maybe. So then you're like, oh, I'm gonna just say no. I want to be called he, him. And like maybe that's the conversation that you're like, people are gonna say, oh, really? Like, oh, do you? Like, oh, I thought you know. And maybe
that's what it was, you know. Maybe it was just that, and I just didn't want to. I think more so, I think I retracted and said I don't want to be called anything then at that point. That's what it was. Maybe that's what it was, that I just wasn't coming to terms with it at all, or like actually diving into what it really is. And I'm just like, you know what, call me anything at this point.
Right.
But now I'm like,
you don't actually want to be called anything.
Boom.
That's interesting.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
That's like
blowing my mind.
I knew this was gonna be like this though. I was like, let me just go ahead with an open head and see what happens. Cause
no, I super appreciate that. Like, I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I feel super happy to have this sort of conversation with you and Claire.
Yeah.
Like, because especially coming from my side of things, which is like, I guess, straight male kind of perspective, it's not often I get to have these conversations.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean? Because, and I mean, I understand, but it's like, I think you have to have a certain connection with someone before you can delve into these topics. Because it's like, it's very easy for me to come across like I'm pressing it. Why? What's going on? Yeah. And like, especially if you're getting that from the world, it's hard for me to then ask questions without having a prior connection. So I think it's really nice that, I mean, we've known each other for years.
Yeah.
But like, we haven't spoken loads. So I feel super like happy that like you and Claire are like opening up and talking about this stuff with me, which is like, I feel nice.
Thank you, brother.
That's all right. No, not at all. So because Claire was talking about the kind of crump is like a bit male dominated in a way. Do you see that with, or how would you see the commercial scene in that way? Do you think it's male dominated? Do you think it's female dominated? Or
I think it's is it male dominated, female dominated? I think it comes in waves of of jobs and what people want behind. You know what I mean? I feel like there's moments where there's been loads of guys behind or working, or then there's waves of just girls. You know what I mean? It just comes with the seasons, which is crazy. But
that's interesting.
Yeah,
some of the styles are a bit stuck. I think like krump tends to be a more male-dominated thing. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what's interesting in the commercial industry, because like. I definitely was taught to learn to be feminine and masculine. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
But within like styles like jazz funk, you know what I mean? Like where you actually have to use your body and hit a line, and the music is different. You know what I mean? It's interesting to see.
So you actually think that maybe in the commercial scene you're taught to embrace both sides way more?
I think so.
That's interesting. Why do you think that is?
Which is weird though, because definitely when you get on it's weird that they they encourage that, because when it gets onto actual jobs, it's not that.
Okay.
I would definitely say it's not that, unless it's for a specific choreographer that has all of these great like morals and just like understands people, you know what I mean? But other than that, it's quite black and white.
So when you say it's not that, like what do you feel when you get on jobs? Like you're more forced to like act in a certain way?
Yeah, you have to play a character, which is also a part of the job, you know what I mean? So I also take it quite lightly too, because I'm like, you know what? Again, it was always I could have said no. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what you're getting yourself into at that point.
Interesting.
Is interesting, yeah.
And I guess in a way it's like, you know, you're very aware that you're on stage playing a character. So you're like, I'm not getting asked to say that this is who I am. I'm getting asked to pretend I'm this. Yeah. So regardless of what gender you are or how you identify, you're still playing a role in a way.
Yeah.
Because even if you are like a straight man and you're asked to play this character of a straight man, it might be not the version of a straight man that you are.
Wow, yes.
Do you know
it's
what I mean?
True.
Because like I've been on, I did a piece where I was part of like a cast, and I was my character, let's say, was a very confrontational, fighting kind of. The whole vibe was that of the thing, and that's not me at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it works in all ways. It's like it might not be how you identify with yourself anyway.
Legit.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what sort of work are you doing at the moment? Are you on a lot of like commercial jobs, or what sort of thing? I mean, right now we're all a bit fucked, but I mean, this phase in your life.
This phase of my life. I recently just did Dua Lipa. That was really cool.
Where was that?
It was like a virtual show, so we filmed
Sick.
it in I can't remember the name, but it's in London though, and that was cool. That was right before lockdown, the first lockdown ever started. I did an audition for that, and to be fair, that was really interesting because that was the first ever audition call that had no non-binary on the actual email.
Wait, so that
like
again?
It was the only audition or like open call that had non-binary stated in.
That's what they wanted.
No, it was I think they wrote a few. But I definitely saw non-binary and I was like, whoa, like I'd never seen that before.
So they had a call out saying we want non-binary artists. Was it like we want male, female, and non-binary, or just we only want non-binary?
I don't get that far of the emails. It just is so like, I think my one just said non-binary.
Oh, right. So they sent
I
it
think
to you.
specifically they cater to everyone.
So there might have been other emails that said
girls or maybe boys. Yeah, but I don't know. But
that's cool though. Yeah.
That was really interesting. So that's what that's the last thing I did. And then now I'm just kind of just at home,
chilling,
doing yoga, meditating, just trying to get my mental as great as it can be. Like Claire said, like just taking time for myself and. Yeah, I don't want to feel too rushed as well this year, but also we want to do everything I want to do too. And
what sort of goals are you looking at?
What goals am I looking at? I'm really trying to get my skin together this year. Honestly, I've had eczema my whole life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a personal struggle that I've like had to deal with. And even when you're dancing, imagine we sweat a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like an ongoing thing. Like
what can you do? To do
I want to clear my insides and see how that's going to affect on my like outside.
So it's like a whole health journey.
So that's what I'm doing. Been meditating a lot more recently.
Yeah, nice.
Which has been helping my anxiety. And that's what 2021 is to just self-care. And also maybe I also want to organically just choreograph again
Yeah.
and see where that goes. And
Do you have like an ultimate goal career-wise of like, I want to be a choreographer, I want to be a movement director? Like, where are you aiming at?
my go. Yeah, I would love to be just a choreographer one day.
Okay.
But I don't want to limit myself right now. I used to be a person that wanted to do it all at once. And I still vouch for that.
You said you're 24?
Yeah, 24.
Got bare time though.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but it's like I was a point where I wanted to do everything at once, and within that, there were a few things that did go right, and it was cool. But then I realized that's just I can't. That's too much. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather just live my life right now, enjoy this thing called dance, see where that takes me, learn and meet amazing people, and then I feel like I'd want to cement some stuff down, like choreography wise, and create content. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What sort of like choreography would you do?
I would definitely want to choreograph for artists, for fashion brands,
sick,
for anything really. I love a challenge. So at that point, I think choreographing, that's what's cool about it, because you are always presented with a challenge.
So it's more like, right, I'm good at putting dance somewhere.
Yeah.
You tell me where to put it, and I'll put it.
The biggest goal is the representation. Like, I want my work to represent everyone.
Sick.
Like, that's the go.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I've seen money been put into so many things, like everywhere. And I'm like, whoa, guys, like, but there's still not enough representation.
Yeah. Did you see the Rihanna?
Yeah.
How did you feel about that, representation wise?
Loved it. Do you know what I mean? I wanna create that for the UK. You know what I mean? I want that, something like that. Do you know, or just something along the lines of that is what I want to be doing. Being in a space with a whole range of different humans. That's what I want. Like,
nice.
I think that would be fucking cool.
And so it can be wherever, whether it's a fashion brand, whether it's a music video.
Honestly, wherever, because really it's about us getting into the room together. That's just it. Like, cause the magic is gonna be crazy. Like, it's gonna be insane.
Yeah.
We just need to be in the room together and literally show out and just literally show the world, like, and just give them like insight into us. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we don't often get the chance to do that all the time.
Yeah, and do you think, in a way, like, for people that are pushing for representation more than other people, I guess, do you feel like there's a pressure that you have to? For example, the reason why Rihanna's Fenty thing was so good for representation was because of how big of a stage that was. Yeah. Like, if that was like a small community show, I'd be like, all right, cool, but there was 500 people there. Because it was like on such a huge platform that made it an even bigger deal, because you're putting that in front of so many different people. So do you feel like there's a pressure that within that, if your goal is to help people feel represented, there's a pressure for you to be able to do that on a big platform? Do you know what I mean? Or do you feel like you want to do it in smaller bits?
I don't feel pressured at all in that sense, because there's a vision, and it's like, that's not the end goal. That first, it's not going to come straight away. And I feel like it's almost like building a fucking community. You know what I mean? Like, it's got we're going to take what we can and then we're going to bring to the table how many people we can. Do you know what I mean? And if that's 5 that time, then that's 5 that time. Right. And if it's 10 that time, it's 10 that time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's going to come. You know what I mean? I feel like I got to build it. Otherwise, it's not like going to be a thing when tomorrow I'm going to be doing the biggest show and it's like, we're going to have everyone. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's, I don't think it's that easy either.
Right. So you're kind of like, all right, I want to start small.
Yeah.
Build up and build up.
Legit.
Yeah. Would you do stuff like, is it for you, is choreography that only vehicle for that? Or would you do like workshops, talks, these type of things? Or is it more like that's your
workshops, talks? That would be cool. Like, even just having this conversation with Claire, like, I wouldn't mind being on a panel with other people to talk, because I think it's great for me as well. It's great for all of us, because it's just conversation.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing with representation, is it's like, it's the conversations. It's the like.
There's no final answer. I don't feel like.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not like, oh, we've figured it out now.
Like, we could literally sit here and talk about it all day, basically. Like, we could go through so many different
and
angles.
As time goes on, those viewpoints are going to change.
Yep.
Within those people, it could be the same type of person, but that viewpoint is going to change as you go, and their opinions are going to change. And like, so I think it's just having, I guess, as much of a spread of different types of people all the time for the rest of life.
Legit, it's true.
Yeah. Sick.
That's important, mate.
So I guess what have you seen a difference? This I was going to ask you as well. Have you seen a difference? Because you said you've done Afro, you've done a bit of like other styles and stuff. What's the difference? Just, you know, not talking necessarily, I mean, we can if you want, but not to necessarily talking about like gender or these type of things, but like just the differences in the scenes. Because I don't really know the commercial scene too well. I know of the commercial scene, I've got friends that are in it, but like I'm way more in the battle scene and now-ish the theatre kind of things, especially hip-hop theatre, than I am in like the commercial world. But and I know from the battle scene there's such like we have such perceptions of the commercial world, but I guess you've kind of seen a bit of both and been around. So how do you see the two different scenes? Do you prefer one or the other? Do you see one as more intimidating, one as less intimidating?
I think it's like with every space that you step into and you've never stepped into it, you're gonna have a inkling of like worry or just, you know what I mean, like, oh, because you're stepping into a space that you're not used to, you know what I mean, and people there are in their bag. They're in their bag, you know what I mean? So I would say both sides has that kind of intimidating
if you're not
nature to it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as school, like having the cool people over there. You know what I mean? It's just the same kind of thing. But I would definitely say both sides have different like good qualities and bad qualities.
True, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I would definitely say remember what we were talking about earlier when I was over analyzing my freestyle, like to a point where you wouldn't. I think within the choreography side, it's like doing too much choreography. You don't even know what you do as a fucking dancer. Do you know what I mean? Like what you have to say. And then this side is like, I definitely think the freestyle. I felt because my intention of freestyle, like getting into it and seeing how everyone maneuvered, it was so about self. So I think that's why I didn't feel too crazy. Yeah. Like I definitely had moments where I'm like, oh shit, like, but that's just life, innit? Normal. Yeah. But I definitely felt like I didn't need to be accepted.
It's just like, well, this
doesn't
make
sense. You know, like in the commercial, I think this the opposite to that is feeling like accepted all the time. You know what I mean? But I wasn't really trying to be like I was just trying to immerse myself and see what happens. I wasn't like I'm moving over to freestyle completely and that's just it. Do you get what I mean? Because maybe then I would have yearned for more confirmation from people. You know what I mean? But I didn't feel like that from freestyle. I definitely felt just literally everyone was on their own kind of like page, and it was more. I think it was more productive. I think it was more productive.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I guess with the self thing, it's like there's a different focus in freestyle because it's like if me and you are training in a room and we're both gonna, I don't know, cypher or battle or whatever, it's like how you dance doesn't necessarily affect me. It's like I'm working on my shit, you're working on your shit. If we battle against each other, it might affect who wins, or if we have to be partners, it might affect if we win together how you dance. But in general, your style, as long as you're good, your style doesn't really affect me. Yeah. Whereas I guess in the choreo commercial world, you've got to look like a unit, on stage. Yeah. So if one person is like not holding their shit, like they're gonna let the whole production down, Yeah. So maybe that's that acceptance thing of like you need to be accepted because we need to know you're holding the fort. You know, like
it's a different pressure, I guess, and a different like
it's a different way of dancing in a way because you are working as when you're I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're on stage for a show, you're not necessarily individuals. You're a performance, all of you together.
Yeah, so like it's like a whole
it's a whole production. So it's like, you know, if you look at like anything like we're talking about the Rihanna show or any of these like super well choreographed big productions, if one person trips over, we don't go, they look stupid. We go, this like looked messy, this whole show looked messy or whatever, right? Whereas in a battle, if there's like 30 dancers that enter and one of them's really crap, you don't say that the battle's crap. You say that's a bad, like, oh, there was one dancer that I didn't like or whatever, you know? So it's like, it doesn't reflect on the whole production in freestyle.
It doesn't mess up too much, basically what you're saying. I get what you mean.
Do you think that's to do with it? Like why there's that pressure of everyone be like us because that means we're all working together?
Yeah, I think that's what it is, you know? Yeah. And it's like, What was the original question? I want to make sure I'm touching.
Just the difference between the two, like no specific objective. With
Yeah,
that, but just like any differences you've noticed, being able to like move between the two, and
that's what I'm saying. I think there's a beauty within that. What we're just talking about, beauty within being a unit.
Oh, yeah.
Do you get what I mean? I think that's also because what I've realized was just like is with freestyling, everyone's so individual, like, but to let's say one day like, okay, Luke, we're gonna go on stage tomorrow or something, like I'm gonna look fucking crazy next to you, do you know what I mean? And vice versa though. But it's because we're so different and we don't train to be a unit. Like that's just it, you know what I mean?
If you've ever seen a big production, which probably everyone listening has, especially live, there's a fucking beauty in seeing it so well rehearsed. Like, you know what I think of as well, like is a really extreme example. Have you ever seen Cirque du Soleil?
No.
Like, fuck, when you see that shit live and you see like if one person trips or drops something, this all goes to shit. So you, in that extreme, you really notice it. But even, you know, watching like any of these shows or tours live, when you see a well-oiled production and everyone is on point,
on cue, everything.
It is beautiful. It's really beautiful.
For me, I'm like, within that, I'm like, I want to, where I am, where I've gone through and seen, I'm like, I want to push it together. You know what I mean? I want to be on jobs with both energies. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's a time and place for everything. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like everyone has something different to offer. Do you know what I mean? Because within those like jobs that I have done where there was a big group, let's say per se, and it was a commercial gig, within it, it's still special though. It's because everyone is an individual at the end of the day. So
course.
you do, like, we do. I think it is interesting to be around that because it's like, it's not a unit. Like, we're trying to be on the same page, but trying to get onto the same page comes with a lot of time and work too.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Especially when you're trying to retain that individual. Because I guess if you look at, I don't know what's a good example, but if the idea is to just iron out everybody's individuality and be like, no one's allowed to be individual, everyone be the same, this is exactly how the choreo is supposed to look, that's easier. But if you want to work as a unit while maintaining all the individuality, that's tough.
That is tough. Yeah. But that's the kind of tough I want to go through.
That's the magic.
Yeah.
Like when you get it.
That's
like,
the tough I want to go through because I'm like, that's going to be more beautiful, no? Yeah. It's going to resonate more with people. I
think so.
And it's just the way art, that's the way it should be.
Yeah, because what I don't like is, you know, especially when we used to do more crew stuff, you know, you see those groups where, I think Definitives is a great example of this.
Great. That's actually a perfect example, you know.
Like when I used to watch Definitives, even way back in the day,
because you still think tight when you think of D-Fan, don't you?
That's what I'm saying. Like they're equally individuals and a unit. Like it's
how
beautiful.
mad
yeah. And like when you see them perform together, like I said, even way back like 2007-8 when I first saw them, it's like you watch them and you're like, holy shit, like that's tight as fuck. Everybody dances well. They do, like if it's Glenn's choreography, they do it how Glenn would do it if he cloned himself. Like,
but you're still watching Romeo and Johnny. You're like, oh my god, what's going on? You know what I mean?
It's almost like you if you saw them in a different context, you wouldn't know they're from. You wouldn't notice them because this is the thing. I think some groups you see someone dance alone and you're like, oh, you're from that group.
Yeah.
And it's like with Definitives, I never got that. With a lot of those guys who have especially gone on to have like solo careers, it's like they've definitely like learned lessons from Definitives and they've grown from the lessons that they've been taught in there. But it doesn't reflect so much in their style. They've been able to take their styles all over and then come back and like even recently still be tight, which is like insane.
I think that's the epitome of what a dancer should be, honestly, because otherwise you're just gonna become a clone, and that's why I stopped taking choreography classes and had to just swerve just a sec because it was like I didn't want to be that person that you can put a finger to and you're from that. What do you mean? I'm from me, like, you know what I mean? It was crazy.
And we have that in the battle scene as well. Like if you think of like I don't know if you know Plague, right? But then like the other crews like Prototype and stuff, which is a lot of like Brooke and those guys that they work with, is like they are tight as shit and they can come together to make some beautiful shows. But again, they go off and they have their own individuality. So I think it is a trademark of a mature and experienced dancer to be able to come together and like work as a like well-oiled unit.
Yep.
And then go away and be completely different in your artistry than everyone else.
That's what it is, isn't it?
And that's not easy to develop.
I think it just comes with time. That's so true because I think we're all easily influenced. You know what I mean? By just what we do and where we are and what we eat. Like, come on, like, it's easy to be influenced at that point.
Yeah, and I think, you know what's funny is, like, I always think of this because, like, again, I'm not in the commercial world, but I know a bit about that side of it. But a lot of the perception I find from battlers is like,
I want to know what the perception is.
Well, I think part of it, in terms of the intimidation, is like we hear a lot about how cutthroat auditions are.
Okay.
And nowadays it's a bit different because a lot of the best battlers are also working commercially. They're just within their style. So they, like, people know. But I think from the kind of, let's say, like, lower down in air quotes, people, they're like, oh, but the commercial scene, they have to go to classes, and classes are all about, like, who gets picked at the end, and auditions are all like this. But then it's like, okay, that may be true, but you don't have someone standing in your face making fun of your dance like you do in a battle, or like you don't have to get judged at the end of a battle. Like, for us, it's normal for us to lose a battle and like the judge points in the other direction. But that's the same as getting cut from an audition, really.
Period.
Do you know what I mean?
Legit.
Like, it's not that different. It has its same.
It's not in it. That is interesting that you put it like that.
Yeah.
I've never looked at it like that, but it definitely is the same.
And like, for us, it's like, if you said to someone like, oh, you're going to lose a battle tomorrow, like, okay. But then it's like, oh, you're going to get cut from an audition. They'll be like, or you're going to get in a class and you're going to be the worst one there. They'll be like, but it's just like, it's just the same thing, but just like a different context.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Do you find like classes are quite like cutthroat as well? Or do you see classes?
I don't really take a lot of classes anymore.
Fair.
Would I say cutthroat? No. Would I say easy? Yes.
Yeah.
Would I? You know what I mean? I wouldn't even say cutthroat at this point. But like, because people like to be spoon-fed, and people like to be given, like, they like to know that they're gonna eat it before they leave. You know, so
you would more say classes need to be more cutthroat.
Yeah, people need to get on it. No, as in, I just don't remember training like this. Right, that's what I'm trying to say. I don't remember training like the way it is right now. Basically, it's like confusing because there's no real teaching. Like, there's not no real teaching, but there's a handful of people, and that's what I'm saying. There's great teachers out there, but on a commercial, where I'm basically talking to people that are commercial dancers that are taking the commercial classes. It's whack. You know what I mean? It's not hitting.
But what is it that makes it that way, or what is it that's missing?
What is it that's missing?
For someone that doesn't go to it. I
think what it was back in the day, we didn't even deem it as commercial like that. Like, a lot of these people that were teaching popular classes, let's say, were educated. They were educated. They knew what they were teaching, and they knew it stemmed from either hip hop or a jazz funk background. And then you're having people nowadays that are just naming it hip hop, and you're looking at it like, what is really going on? You know what I mean? So I think that's what's interesting, because I'm like, if anything, it's gone backwards. Like, in terms of just like, people are just like, just doing it. You know what I mean? They're just doing it to make money now. Like, it's quite. And
why do you think there's a reason for that? Why it's gone that way?
I think within doing choreography, just choreography, that comes with laziness. I think so. Well, laziness in training. Yeah. Training and learning. Because I feel like, as if you're going to be a teacher, you always constantly should be learning as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, you should be at least a good student. You know what I mean? So I'm confused. You know what I mean?
So do you think it's more like, because there's more opportunities to teach, you don't have to try as hard to be a teacher? It's just anyone, well, not anyone, but it's way easier to get a class than it used to be, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I guess we didn't, I'm trying to think when, because we probably started at a similar time, but different ages, obviously. But like, there was Huskies and Pineapple.
But it's contradicting, because I defo did start teaching when I was 18, and we were just talking about how I didn't. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, in the same breath, it's like, just know. Like, if you know you should know what classes to take, and the right people, you should be talking as well, conversating with these teachers to see what their intentions are and what they're actually, why they're there, and like what their intentions to teach is. Do you know what I mean?
And I guess it's also, which is interesting, going back to the thing that you said about going for these jobs, and you were like, well, I had the choice to say yes or say no. It's the same with class. So it's like, if people are there and this teacher, this hypothetical teacher, is rubbish, it's like, well, also there's a a responsibility on the student, like you're saying, to research, talk to them, understand what class you're taking. Don't just mindlessly take class. It's like, I think it's equal. Like, teachers have a responsibility to be good teachers, but then students have a responsibility to be good students, like research and know whose class you're taking and why. And also, if you know what you want from a class, you know which class to take. Like right now, if I want to go and touch up on this, I go to this class. If I want to touch up on this, I go to this class. Like, I need more floor work and more physical work. I'm not going to certain classes because that's not what I need. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's what's interesting from the freestyle to the commercial scene, is that they are, because I feel like the freestylers are so led by self and discovering more within their movement. It's crazy because it's like commercial is almost taught to be like, okay, find the person that you want, like that you're really inspired by, and basically almost just be a clone or be an understudy of them. And that's all of that comes with it's like you're losing yourself. You know what I mean?
Do you know what's interesting that I find as like a little pushback on that is like, so you know what you were saying about Paris? Yeah. You kind of got work by being in her class, right? So that happens in the choreo world, which I always find interesting because it's such a hard thing that I know a lot of people that want to push, like choreo dancers that want to push back against that and be like, don't go to just what's popular, go to what's going to give you stuff. But there is an element of like, if you're in the right class at the right time, you can get work from it. Yeah. Whereas that doesn't happen in the freestyle world. Not really. Like, you don't go to a popping class and then somebody like studies you and is like, or sees you in the class and is like, oh, come and work. I mean, it might, but more for us, that's in battles. It's like, go to the right battles and do well in those battles. And then you get asked to judge and you don't get asked to judge a battle from someone seeing you in a class. Whereas you might like get asked to assist Paris Goebel from being in her class. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so there's a bit, I kind of, in a way, as much as I understand both sides, like I understand being a good student, but I also understand looking for avenues for work. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, because that's also sometimes as a human, you have to be like set goals and be realistic like that. Yeah. So I'm trying to
be resourceful and like, if this is where the work is happening and this is where they're scouting for dancers, I'm going. I'm gonna put on my best outfit and go and try and
as long as you enjoy what you're doing, do you know what I mean? And you understand why you're there and you're not fazed by it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You're kind of good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think this is the whole thing. It's like going back to like understanding what it is you want from that class. Like if you're, because you know, people were like, I've heard again from a distance, like people complaining about the classes where all they do is like half the class they're filming for like YouTube or whatever, Insta. And it's like, but again, that's annoying if you paid for a class, but why did you choose that class? Did you not know that they do that? Like,
like
you know the classes that do that. Even for me from a distance, I know the classes that do that. And you can see from their other videos on YouTube, you're like, this is a whole production. Yeah. So why did you go to that class expecting to be taught deep knowledge? That's where you go if you want to get in their videos. Like, and that's its own thing. And maybe there should be another name for that. And maybe it's not a dance class. Maybe it's a performance.
And it's regimented, because if you deep it, like, let's say you did pay for that class and you suddenly was just surprised and annoyed that they were filming. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's still a space. It's still a space. So you can still be on the side doing whatever you want to, like, if you know what I mean? It's just like,
I think there's ownership from both sides that I needed. Like, and maybe it's in that case, like the teacher to advertise, right, we're only going to be teaching a routine for half an hour and then for 45 minutes we're going to be filming. So come if you want to. And some people might enjoy that, you know? So yeah, I think it's, I mean, this is...
How do you feel about, like, people filming, like, is, you know, like, the battle scene, is filming battles, is that a thing, or it's not, you know what I mean? It's good to just have for memory, like...
Yeah, like, for us, filming is a big part of it, because, you know, a lot of our research is done on YouTube, nowadays anyway. We know about battles because of YouTube, and I think it's, like, a really... But filming in battles, me personally, I am slightly offended if you run an event and don't hire a videographer. Okay. For you. I'm like, why? Like, how big YouTube and Instagram and socials are, like, it's almost for me, like a prerequisite to having an event. Like, if I'm at an event and you're not filming, or, which has pissed me off before, if you've got a videographer there and you don't put up the videos, I'm like, why am I, like, yes, I'm here for this, but I'm also here knowing that this is my time to shine. Like, I'm in classes training, I'm in training. I'm at home training. When I go to a battle, now's my time to put all this stuff out there. Yeah. into like the people in the room, but also the videos and the things that will circulate. And if I have to get someone, if I have to say to my friend, like, oh, take my phone, like, I feel like we're past that. It's like me, and this is my personal viewpoint. A lot of people might disagree, but I think battle events should always have a videographer. I think it's important.
Yeah. And how does that translate to what you think about like how class should be presented?
Yeah.
Do you agree with like the filming in class and all of that?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think that, and I mean, also I have a different viewpoint on it because I'm a videographer as well. So I'm filming sometimes people's classes or whatever. But I think I get both sides. It's hard because I get the annoyance at going to a class expecting to train hard. And then mostly it's like, and especially if you're not at the level of the people that are getting picked to be in the videos, you're just kind of chilling and waiting for other people to film content that you've paid for that hour. So that's annoying. But then also it's like, there's a side of it which is like, okay, it's their class, they can do what the fuck they want in it. Yeah. Fine. Why? Who am I to tell you how to run your class? I just won't come back next week. Then there's another side of it that like, we as battlers we're training to compete. So we have to learn to compete. We have to learn to not get distracted by an opponent who wants to distract us. As a choreo or commercial dancer, you have to learn to perform to a camera always. Like, or an audience on stage, but a lot of times cameras. You have to know like, and I've seen this when I watch stuff and I'm like, oh, they're mad comfortable. Like I watched some like what did I watch? Ariana Grande's thing on Netflix. Did you see it? Like them dancers, like sometimes the cameras come in, they'll like do a little wink to the camera and carry on dancing. And I'm like, I would fuck up the choreo if if I had to wink at a camera, I'd be like, oh, where was I? But like, so part of the training is to learn to work with a camera, to know how you look good. There's some, this is one thing as well. Like sometimes when you take pictures of battlers, the pictures come out horrible because their faces are all twisted up. And like, but like commercial and choreo dancers, they're really used to looking good on camera no matter what move they're doing, no matter how sweaty they are, because that's part of the training is to look good on stage. So there is a side to it as well where I feel like you need to have a camera in your face, I guess, because that's the jobs you're going to be doing. That's what you're training for, isn't it? Like,
I just feel like for me, I would say that I learned all of that within the experiences on the job.
Right.
This is why I feel like a half and half as well, because I'm like, I get it, it's really cool, but also you're gonna learn this. It's just like,
so you're like, let the dance be in the classes.
Let there's so much more to be thinking about than just that, because I'm just like, we're not at that destination yet. Of you having to, you know what I mean? Like it's and plus I feel like when I was younger, like I would just post anything and anything. You know what I mean? Like any video of me dancing, I would just post but nowadays I feel like kids are defo like scared to do that because we're literally blessed with perfect filming and fucking steady cam and great quality videos for people to post all the time. They feel like they have to be perfect. It's fucked. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Because that's what I love about the battles, because it's like regardless of what it is, that's the round. You know what I mean? Like that's just what it is.
Go back and fix it.
Yeah, and then with that, it's kind of like, I guess that's what's cool. It's kind of the same.
I think that's true in a way that like the difference with the filming of the battles and the filming of the choreo is that with battles, or let's say like freestyle dance, you tend to get slightly more authenticity in the video that you post, because like you said, that round that I did, the event doesn't permit me to do another one. Like I did my one. I can, if I get to the finals, I've got a few to choose from, but still those rounds were the ones that I did, and that's what everyone saw. So it's not like you can do the choreo 4 times, or you know what I mean? And like pick the best time you did the choreo, or film it again with the dancers at the end, or like maybe there's a bit more authenticity in what we would post because it was performed live, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe this is, I guess what you're saying as well, is like, maybe you get that authenticity when you post videos from an actual show as opposed to class where you get to run the choreo over and over and over.
I think it's a personal thing though, because within that class, it might hit and it might not hit.
Yeah.
That's just honestly a personal thing. Like it might be depending on my mind frame that day. I might have got something out of it that's just out of this world. Do you know what I mean? And that might not have been the 4 times I did it before, but it might have been the 1 time I did it. You know what I mean? Sometimes, truly, it does. I think I would explain the same, because obviously coming out onto the floor to battle is fucking nerve-wracking. Do you know what I mean? It's so nerve-wracking. But it's what I find cool about that is just that it's that one experience, it's that one moment. And like, even if you're annoyed about it after or whatever, it's just done now. Like, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
But I do think we do in the class scene, we have that space as well.
Yeah.
that's the formula. That's the formula, which is it's like at the end and like, hey, one person. But really, is when I do think about it, because the battle is a show still as well. Do you know what I mean? And in that sense, when it gets to the end, I guess you can compare it to a show. Then it is a show, but then within that, it sparks so much. In both scenes, it sparks something within what you want to say in that moment, I think. And it's like, even though it's a different environment and maybe you're not competing, do you know what I mean? Is that it might just feel like more of a show. Yeah. But I definitely feel like it's still a personal moment if you choose to go on the floor. True. Same thing with battling. You can choose to sign up or not choose to sign up. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah. So it's I think enough. It holds the same kind of weight, I think, in my eyes now that I'm talking about it.
I think there's a lot of comparable. Like I think we have a lot more in common, the scenes, than we think we do. Yeah. But I'll wrap up because I don't want to keep you all day. Thanks so much for coming. Like, I really appreciate it. Really appreciate the conversations, and shout out to Claire as well. That was great. She texted me saying she had fun.
She the one.
Super appreciate you coming down. Thanks to Artists for Artists for making this
happen. Thank you, Artists for Artists.
We love
This is my
you.
first ever interview, so it was really. I was a bit nervous. Maybe I wasn't nervous when I woke up. Yeah. But I was nervous on the way here.
Oh really?
Reason. And then I was like, why am I nervous? Like I'm going to see Luke, and we're just gonna talk.
Are you feeling all right now?
I feel good. I feel like I got something from this conversation, and I feel
so happy to hear.
Feel happy, yeah.
Yeah, especially like I said, for me, like the more and more I have these, I guess, delicate conversations, the more I worry about getting it right or saying the right thing. But I'm happy if you feel like we did it justice, and especially delving into like personal things for you and personal things for Claire. Like, thank you, and Claire, if you're listening, like, thank you guys for like kind of trusting me with that and like opening up with me. So it is appreciated from my side as well.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, guys, check out the Artists for Artists Digital Spring stage. This was the last episode of the collaboration with the Duke London podcast. We've had a wonderful time. And we're going to move on to some different types of content. So please do keep locked onto the website, which is artistsforartists.co.uk. The 4 is a number 4. You can check out the Artists for Artists social media on kind of all platforms: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Insta. For everything. If you want to keep following me, I'm at the Duke London, and all my podcasts are kind of all the audio platforms except for SoundCloud. What else? Yeah, the Duke London podcast specifically, there's a lot of episodes if you want to go back and listen from the beginning. There will be more coming. I don't want to rush these and just throw them out for no reason. So this year, especially with Corona kind of slowing things down, I'm working with a few select people to make it happen in a more sustainable and bigger and better way. So it will be back, and when it does come back, it will be proper, for want of a better word. So yeah, please bear with me. And if you enjoyed any of the podcasts, like, please don't think that I'm just giving up, because I'm not. I'm actually working harder than I was before, but just behind the scenes. Keep up to date with Artists for Artists. Great organization. If you don't know anything about them, go and check them out. Again, at the website, artistsforartists.co.uk. The Digital Spring stage is going to be super awesome, so check more of that out. And I will see you guys soon, or you will hear me soon. I'm on Insta, baby. Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see everybody soon.